All right. Good morning. Good morning for me at least. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you guys are tuning in from. It is Sunday, and we are doing our daily voice chat, of course. So you can see sometimes on the weekend, we've been doing them earlier. We did it a bit earlier yesterday. We're doing it earlier again today. Obviously, a lot of people who work generally on the week have some time off on the weekend. So, hosting a voice chat a little bit earlier might actually work out better for some people, depending where they're located on. I'm going to be doing some testing and seeing how the crowd is showing up on the weekends when we do it earlier versus maybe on the weekdays when we're doing it at a later time as we have been. So, as far as yesterday goes, we really focused on looking at wallets through the profitable wallet section or the potential wallet section. We spent quite a bit of time doing that. It's important that we continue to do so because as we go through, as we get to see different wallets, we get to see different things that we may have not seen before that may be an indication of if we want to use this wallet or not, if we want to run this wallet on testing or not, if we want to even spend another 5 seconds looking at the information based on the information that we've already seen. Okay, so that was a large portion of yesterday's call. Again, we're going to implement that into every day's call with some new information that we're going to build upon. We want to take all the information that we learned from the first voice chat, the second voice chat, and so on. And we always want to build upon this information so we can take what we've learned and then add another layer to it, which depthens our knowledge and deepens our scope to actually what we're doing and how we're going to produce results. Yesterday, we also took the time to open up trades. So if we found a wallet and we were looking at it, we took the time to go to Dex Screener and actually analyze those trades a little bit more deeply. The reason that's good is because, like I said, there's some wallets that you're going to think are really good, and on paper they look really good. Statistically, we had a wallet yesterday that looked like it'd be a good wallet to follow and you'd end up with good profits, but just by looking at his recent trades, we were able to see that he was trading in 10 seconds or less, which is really not ideal for us to be able to get a decent entry and be able to get a decent exit and make similar profits to what they're making. So we have questions come up all the time. Can you trade snipers? And that question is an absolute no. But then when we have the question occur of can you trade scalpers, and it is that you can trade scalpers, but it has to be in an instance that makes sense. Now, the instance that makes sense while trading scalpers is to make sure that the scalpers have a long enough hold time that it is going to make sense for you to be able to get an entry and an exit fired off within a time that, one, your bot will pick it up, but two, also makes sense for profits. So we're going to go a little bit further into that. I'm also going to show you how to use the potential wallets in a way that's a little bit different than just scrolling up and down. We're going to be searching by the wallets that we're interested in at the time, regardless if we're using a sniper method where we're tracking these snipers and we want to find good snipers so we can enter on dips and trade that way, or we're using a scalper because we want to follow the way the scalper trades, or we want to look for an alpha or a fresh wallet. I'm going to show you exactly how to pop that up in potential wallets and how to easily pull up these wallets that you're looking for so you don't have to look at all the stuff you're not looking for. For example, if you're solely looking at someone to add for copy trade, you're not going to want to be looking at sniper wallets because, again, the sniper wallets are used for a different strategy, right? If you don't like the way scalpers trade, and scalpers, you mess with them, you put them on, and it's just not something that you want to work with, then we can skip scalpers too. So we can just look at alpha wallets in that case. We can look at fresh wallets in that case. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. So let me go ahead and share my screen. First, I'm going to get to the profitable wallet section. And I'm going to share my screen on here, and then we will go from there. If at any time anyone has a question, feel free to cut me off. I can always keep on going from where I'm at, but I don't want you to lose your question and forget to ask your question. Now you have to wait till the next voice chat to bring it up. So if there is any questions, feel free to just stop me, and I can always get going again. It's no problem for me. All right, in a second, should be sharing my screen there. Okay, perfect. We have it up. Okay, so we're at profitable wallets. Again, I was just doing this yesterday with you guys, so I've had it up. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom because since yesterday, there's been a whole new set of wallets that have been introduced. So we want to make sure we have this data too to utilize as I'm going through some of these examples of how we search. Now, you just want to go up to the top corner and go to the little magnifying glass there. That is how you're going to be able to search. You can't just type in alpha. Say you were looking for an alpha wallet. You can't just type in alpha. It has to be hashtag alpha. That is the only way you're going to bring up the results that you're looking for. So you can see a bunch of results already populate. The earliest results populating at the top, and then it goes onwards. But I'm just going to type enter. So when I type enter here, you can see it takes me to the first alpha wallet. We can see that this wallet has two tags. So one, it has the fresh tag. So fresh tag means it was recently, so it's a new wallet that was recently funded. That's what fresh means. And then alpha, we know generally are wallets that are performing very well in terms of their win rate, usually good ROI with these wallets, and they've taken few losses. The one downside that we can see with some of these alpha wallets is just that they don't have the history that some of these other wallets that we can see that don't have the alpha tag do. Because in order to get that alpha status, it needs to achieve such a high win rate and such a high ROI, and be a wallet that looks, very dependable, or we could say very alpha. But anyways, let's take a look at this first wallet that came up because it was the first one in our search. We can see in this instance, it has very limited data. So the second day that we could see it trading, because it didn't make trading in the last day we recorded, but the day prior to that, we can see it made a 0.4 profit. This is the only data we have for this wallet. So we can see with that trade, it worked out to be 102 ROI, 100% win rate, meaning it's taken the one trade and it's won one trade. So although this is coming up as an alpha wallet, this might be a wallet that is better to track because this is a new freshly funded wallet that has some activity here, and it could potentially be a wallet that continued to go on with multiple trades. We could say 5, 6, 10 trades, and it's still remaining this alpha tag. I know I have some wallets myself that I picked up that were alpha, and tracked them, look at them, added them on, and these wallets are still coming up with an alpha tag after quite a bit of trading now. I mean, I've had them on for a month and they trade a decent amount. So that is something to keep notice of. Let's see if I can get back to where that one was. No problem. I can just easily search alpha again and it will take me exactly to where we were. Okay. So this is something to be mindful of, that with most of these alpha strategies or alpha wallets and the strategies around it, if it doesn't have a lot of data, it might not be something that you want to throw on right away. We can see that this wallet likely is going to trade again. It still has a good wallet balance. It has 6.72. We can see that its first trade was successful and it didn't drain its balance. So we could see that this wallet might trade again. So instead of just plugging it in, again, it might be best to just track this one. All right. So it was very easy for us to be able to see this first alpha wallet. In terms of using it on a phone, you can usually just click right through them. In terms of using the computer, I guess it is easiest to do it from this drop down menu. So I'm just going to go to, so I know I checked the first one there. I'm just going to go to check the next alpha wallet that we have coming up here. Okay, so we see this one has an alpha tag. If we look at it, it has a lower win rate than the other one, but still a very good win rate, still a very good ROI, a little bit more data. So we can see that this one has 3 unique tokens here, but we can also see that, one was a loss over 50%, but we could also see that the other 2 were within the 2 to 5x range. And while I'm at this one, I'm also going to take the time to bring up another thing that we should be practicing, and that is pulling up their trades to see how they done. And I'm going to pull up both the last 2 trades because they correspond with a green. So I want to see their entries and exits there. RIP, I know they lost on, so I'm just going to skip this one just for now. And at this point in time, if anyone has questions, go ahead. If not, I'm just going to keep on moving forward. All right. So I'm going to have to switch over to Deck Screener to show you guys what's going on here. So bear with me. All right, you should be able to see that just fine now. All right, so we're gonna oftentimes go between both looking at the profitable wallet sections or just looking at wallets in general, but then switching to Deck Screener so we can kind of see how their buys and sells worked out. So we can see right here, they bought at 4:11 p.m., almost 4:12 p.m., and they bought 0.2 worth. And that was the only buy they made. And they sold at 4:48. So we got a decent bit of time between that. We almost have 30 minutes between that. So we're able to see here, we almost have 40 minutes between that. We're able to see here that for the initial sell, he was actually able to already do a 2x. So the first sell that he made about 40 minutes later, he was able to do a 2x on his buy. And we can see that it looks like in the chart that there was room to buy and definitely room to sell on that first sell. And same with the second sell. We can see he sold more than he bought initially, and he's already made a 2x. So this is just more profits coming in, and the difference of time between that worked out to be almost an hour time between that first sell and the second sell. So why it's good to look at this is because we can see, he's not going in super quick to the trades, and he's not exiting super quick to the trades as well. So we know that if this was a wallet that we liked, we could follow it. the reason I want to pull up these more often is not just for the case of the alpha wallet and showing you on this individual wallet, but it's also the case of any wallet that you find that you want to make sure that the trades are something that makes sense and something that you can enter before you put it into your Trojan or whatever bot you use to copy, that you know how to come here, you know how to look at timestamps, you know how to look at if they're profitable, you know how to look at if they held for long enough for it to make sense for you to get into the trade. Okay, so that was the first trade that was had. I'm going to leave it at the deck screener screen because I'm just going to go to the next trade that was there. So I said we were going to skip the first one because it was a losing trade. We're just going to move on to the second winner. So the next winner is WSB, and it's going to be pulling up shortly for you guys. Okay, so again, we want to look at the buy time, but right here we can see that the buy time already, just by looking at the date, we know that there was decent time between the buy and the sell here, and there's only one buy and sell here. But this time it was almost a 3x, just shy of a 3x for this alpha wallet. All right. So looking at the buy here, it was placed at 11:08 a.m. And then looking at the sell, it's 11:43. So that's over 30 minutes. We're definitely going to be able to get in and get out. We can see, where the entry had taken place.
Interrupt, Amir. You just mentioned the time between buy and sell being 30 minutes for this one, but what would you say is the lowest acceptable time frame between buy and sell if we're looking to copy trade?
Yeah, so it's really going to depend on how the trader is trading, because if the trader has like a 2 or 3 minute buy or sell time, like that's going to be at like the lower range that I'm going to look at. But if he's doing, a 2x, 3x, 4x within that time, I know there's a little bit more space for me to get profits. So that 2 to 3 minute time might be something I want to look at more. And I also know that he's trading pretty quickly, so I might want to, make sure my gas is decent to be able to get decent entries and be able to get decent exits as well. So the reason I brought up that instance when they're making a larger trade, a 2x or a 3x and not just a 20%, is because when they're making a 20% gain within that time, it might not be something worth me looking at, just because of, how short that time really is that they're buying and selling. The fact that it's not that much profit, the fact that I might get hit a little bit on my slippage and it might eat into that profit. So there's variables there, but I would say generally, if you were looking at a normal trader, like 3 to 5 minutes between buy and sell is what you would want to follow at a minimum. I would personally say.
Gotcha. And let's say in that case, in the example you brought up, if there was a trader that was making these, 3 minute buy and sell trades or so, so besides upping the gas fee, would you also keep the slippage to around 80% still, like you mentioned yesterday?
Yeah, because in that case, if he's making good gains and he's only holding for a short amount of time, it's safe to assume that there's decent amount of volume happening within what he was trading. If there wasn't, there's no way he's going to make a 2x or a 3x within a minute. So especially on an instance like that, if I'm seeing he's making 3x trades within a minute pretty consistently, I'm going to need to up my slippage so I can grab it. By upping my slippage, it may end up so that he makes a 3x trade and I only make a 2.5 or a 2.2x trade, but I'd still rather make a 2.2 trade, just a 2x profit than not be in that trade at all.
And So you mentioned yesterday how just for regular trading, around 80% slippage is what you like. But for something like this, like 3 minute or even below 3 minute buy and sell, would you consider a slippage that's higher than 80%?
For myself, personally, no, because I haven't really had issues with 80%. And when I mean I haven't had issues, I don't think I've had a single slippage exceeded notification based on the traders that I had. And if I did have one, I really just can't remember it occurring. So if it did happen, it happened like once. So for me, using 80% slippage, I know that even when my traders are trading aggressively, and a lot of times they do, meaning they're getting in on, candles that are likely to spike up and stuff, and there is quite a bit of volume after them, that 80% had been sufficient for me. At the time of me putting in 90%, I don't know if it works for others, and I would love to hear if other people have it at 90% and 80% wouldn't have worked for them, but 90% does. And they're able to enter some trades. But I had someone who did tell me that they couldn't enter a trade. And I'm like, okay, what's it? What's the issue? And they told me the issue, and it was the slippage kept on exceeding. And it was already at 80%. And he's like, so should I go to 90%? And I'm like, I mean, you can, because that is what your issue is. We know clearly your issue isn't that your transaction is not going through because you don't have enough money. We know it's not going through because the bot's lagging. We know that the issue is your slippage. So you put it up to 90% slippage. I don't know what his entry was in terms of how much he was putting in, and I don't know what his gas was. But by the time that worked out for him, his trader made money. He didn't make money. So in that instance, he stopped following him. I don't know if there was a case if we could have made a different strategy where he could follow this trader with 90% slippage and be profitable. But I just know in that particular instance, when I am dealing with someone who did up it to 90%, it didn't work for him for, a magnitude of reasons.
Got it. Yeah, that's very valuable. Um, so you brought up gas fees as well. So yesterday, how you mentioned if it were a regular trade, you would keep it around 80% slippage, and your gas, and I believe you said like 0.0015 or something like that for regular trade. But for if we're trying to copy someone that's 3 minutes or sub 3 minutes between buy and sell, what would you recommend we up that gas fee to?
Yeah, so Trojan considers their gas fee fast at 0.0075. So a lot of people who are competing in trading in general are using Trojan. I mean, it's the largest used trading bot on the market. So if we know they're using 0.0075, and most of the serious traders who are looking to get in and get out and make some profit and have a decent amount of SOL, we know that they're at least using fast. And then I would say some more serious traders outside of them who really want to make sure they're getting good entries are using 0.01. And that's kind of like the standard for people who want to be pretty quick. Of course, you can move up from there, but as I told you guys in past voice chats, that moving up may not always be necessary. In times of serious network congestion, like we experienced about, I would say 2 months ago, we had pretty serious network congestion on Sol. They made announcements about it. Trojan made announcements about it, saying that transactions were slow right now. So in that instance, to up your gas to pass 0.01 to 0.15 to I had mine at 0.0, sorry, 0.015, but I had mine at 0.025, and I just kept my gas that high ever since. But since the market has changed and there's not as much congestion on the chain, 0.015 has been working for me just as good as 0.025 had. And 0.025 works out to be around $5 in gas. 0.015 works out to be a little bit under $3 in gas. So I mean, saving $2 per transaction, it does add up over time. But to answer your question, I gave you a magnitude of different reasons why you would have different slippage, but I think like that 0.075 that they consider um, 0.0075, sorry, that they consider fast should be like the minimum that you keep if you're trying to trade people who are getting volume after their trades. But if you're finding yourself still not getting great entries, I would recommend to up it to 0.01 if you can afford to do it, if it makes sense on the amount of SOL that you're going in, and see how that affects your entries. If you're finding you're getting quite better entries, then maybe that's the sweet spot for you. If at some point in time 0.015 makes sense, it may make sense for you to test that as well to see how that impacts your trade of doing 0.015, excuse me, versus doing 0.01 or 0.0075.
That is very insightful. Thank you. Thank you. And you mentioned network congestion. Is there any sort of reference or tools that we could use just to see the status of the network itself? Or is it more like we're just waiting for announcements?
Yeah, there's definitely places that you can go because as the network congestion gets high, I can see the announcement is paired actually with some data on SolScan that's showing the network and how it's working. So it's somewhere located on SolScan. It's not something I've pulled up myself. Oftentimes when I notice the network is being slow and stuff, I just had updated my gas. So I can look further into that for you within the day or so and see exactly where you could pull that information. But I believe it is coming directly from SolScan. They have some analytics there that you're able to pull up and see how the trades are going and how the congestion is going on the network. So congestion just comes from essentially when there's lots of trading activity, right? So if we see high trading activity and we see it charted and it looks like it's at an all-time high or it's getting close to, we know that the trading activity results in congestion.
Cases of congestion, would you also suggest that we proportionally up the gas fee to ensure that we still get our trades in and out?
Yeah, I mean that's what I do myself, but at the same time I also suggest that you like play around and see what gas fee works the best for the least cost, right? Because if it is really congested and you're still running, let's say you're running 0.0075 because you've been using Trojan's fast recommended setting, and we're going into a congested time. We can tell, there's notifications, or we looked at the SolScan and we saw the data and we know it's congested right now, but your trades are still going in pretty quick. You're getting decent entries compared to the person that you're copying. And when you go to sell, it's not taking, minutes to sell. It's still selling within seconds. It's still selling within 2 to 5 to 7 seconds. So it's selling in a decent amount of time. Then you might be happy with that. But if you are in that position again, gas is high or congestion is high, and you're like, you know what, I think this is messing with my entries a little bit, I want to up it, I would start smaller. So if you're already at 0.0075, the next logical step would be just move it to 0.01, and now you're trading faster than most Trojan traders, and hopefully your cells are now getting off within like 2 to 3 seconds. And if that's the case and you're getting your cells off in 2 to 3 seconds instead of 3 3 to 10 seconds or something like that, obviously that could work out to be a lot more beneficial for you and people that get you a lot more profits within that trade.
That's very insightful. I'll definitely have some testing to do myself. But yeah, I'll let you carry on. Thank you for answering all these questions.
Yeah, no problem. And I want you guys to realize how important really testing is not only when we see a trader like this, for example, let's say this trader had a little bit more history, but we're seeing their trades are looking really good. We're seeing his entries looking good. We're seeing his exit. He's doing a good job at that. We can see that he's making good profit. He almost made a 3x. A lot of people will just see this data and instantly want to jump in, but without, doing a test on it, you might find that although you see this data here and we can make sense of it and we can be like, yeah, we have plenty of time and it's going to work out great. We can't really tell that until we do some sort of testing. So now the first testing that we do, and we usually recommend you to do, is just start with a small balance and test to see if you're ending up in profits with the trade. Okay, if some trades go off now, you've been following for 2 days, and you're ending up in profits when he's in profits, and the losses you're taking are about the same losses as he is. You know that you're doing pretty good with this wallet, then you can increase it some, right? Say you only put like a couple dollars in, maybe now you want to increase it to $10, $20. So you're actually now, if he's making profit, you're actually able to get some decent relative profits out of that by increasing your thing. So that's one way that we do testing, but another way that we do testing has to be on other variables, such as slippage. Slippage, I don't have to do too much testing on because, again, generally I just set it to 80 and I have no problem. But for some of you guys, you might be setting it lower and you see that you're having failed transactions due to slippage. Again, you want to adjust it higher. There's got to be testing that happens there. And if you're finding your entries are far off from the guy that you're trading, that doesn't mean that it's not profitable to trade the wallet. It could be that you just have really low gas. And some of you guys are trading a lot smaller amounts and using something like 0.00015, which is, I think, Trojan's, not even, it might be their standard gas, but either way, that is obviously a lot slower gas than using something like 0.0075. And if you're not making profits and you're going in with a decent amount, it might not be the fact that you're not making profits because just the trader isn't profitable for you to follow. It might just be because of your gas. So we have to be mindful of these things when we are trading before we decide that, we found a wallet that looks really good and we say, hey, you know what, I tried to trade it and it didn't work out. Well, is there reasons that it didn't work out? Was your slippage being hit every single time and you just gave up on it because you didn't want to update your slippage? Or was your gas substantially too low for the way that this guy trades? So by the time you're getting in way higher than him because your gas is taking so long to really set off that buy and get you an entry. So all those things do need to come into play, and you guys need to be mindful of all this going forward. All right, so I'm going to continue on. We're going to continue on looking at some of these alpha wallets. I have found quite good alpha wallets looking through here. Sometimes I think like when I first started and I wasn't so knowledgeable, I would just find an alpha wallet and right away I'd be like, oh, it's got a few trades, it looks good, really high win rate. I just plug it in, and sometimes it didn't work out so good, but because obviously the alpha wallets a lot of times have low data, but sometimes I plugged in an alpha wallet who only had 3 or 4 trades, and he turned out to continue being an alpha wallet. So if you're not trading the alpha wallet right away, it may be good to put it in some type of tracker to see if this wallet continues to perform like an alpha wallet and it continues to trade and so on. All right, so I'm going to switch back screens now. Every time I do this, looks like I have to close the one screen to do it, which is fine because I'm able to get them up a lot quicker now. So definitely making progress here. You should be able to see profitable wallets again. Anytime if you're not seeing what you think you're supposed to be seeing, you think there might be an error on my side, please do let me know because technical errors can happen. All right, so I'm full screening it now. It shouldn't affect what you see, but I'm going to move back to this alpha tab. So we know we looked at the first one, and we know we just looked at the second one. That's one that we just looked at. But what I'm going to do is, because we can see they all have low data sets, we've already really looked at low data sets. This one's a little bit higher, but I can see this one has quite a bit of activity, and it's considered, it's still popping up in that alpha tag. So I want to look at this one just because we see a larger data set. It looks interesting to me based on what we see here, right? Because we see lower data sets, so we can check these out. We can put them in tracking or whatever. But this one, again, looks like it has a little bit more information. So why not check out this one? So we can see on the visual representation, right, instantly we can see more green days than red days. We can see that there's a lot of yellow days here, but maybe he didn't start trading till here. And when he started trading, maybe he had 2 red days and then had a day off and then came back, and then, pretty much all green days except for that one there. So by looking at his stats, we can see the win rate's quite good, 75%. The ROI is great, 225%. That's like a really great ROI to see. And his profit for SOL is 56 SOL over the month. Again, it looks like he's traded less than half of the month, so that looks good. And we can see his last 2 active trading days were recent, so we know that they're trading now. So when we look further down, we can see sold more tokens than bought, 25%. It happened once, but because there's still a limited data set in comparison to some of the other things that we've been looking at, we get a larger flag here, which is 25%, but it still pushed through to the bot as a profitable wallet, a potential profitable wallet, right? And the reason being so because the flags are still under 30%. All right, so it still seems decently interesting for me to look at. Excuse me. All right, now we want to look at how it's performing with its tokens, and we see he hasn't took anything over a 50% loss, which is nice. He did have a token that was at 20, a loss that was just under 50%. And then we also see that it had 1 token between the 2 to 5x range, which is nice. And then 2 tokens that I always call them mooners. They did over a 5x. So then getting into his buys and sells, we can see he's traded quite, a low amount of tokens, but it seems like he was buying and selling over a period of time now based off of the information of the unique tokens being 4, but seeing a lot more days of transactions, either negative or positive, happening between that. So then we can look at his buys. We can see that when he's buying, he's usually selling 2 times on average, just by looking at the differential between the buys and the sell. All right, so now we can see that his average time between buys and sells is working out to be, so that would be 13 hours. It looks like it's saying recording as 12 days, 13 hours, and 8 minutes. So that could be the reason why we're seeing such a spread of here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 doesn't quite match up there. So let's take some time to furtherly explore this wallet. Again, I'm going to be pulling it up now. Just the first trade we see here, Zach. I want to see how this guy's trading. I want to see when he's buying, when he's selling, because again, just to trade 4 unique tokens, but have all these buys and sells, I'm pretty interested to see how this is working out. Sorry, I'm falling into the second information here. I'm looking at Sniper then. I'm like, why am I seeing Sniper here? I'm seeing it's falling into that next category that I'm looking at. Okay, so let's pull up Zach here. So I'm going to pull that up. Remember, I'm going to have to close the screen for a second and broadcast the new screen on Zach. All right, let's see what's going on. If you can't see this, there is a buy. I'm going to see if there's anything earlier. No, this was his earlier buy. His earliest buy was nestled by the sell. You can see, if you can see the arcing green coming out here, you can see the buy obviously was before this sell, but they're so close together, they're almost overlapping. But let's check it out here and see what this all means. So we can see that it's really easy to look at this one because it's happening over a longer amount of time, that we can see 1 day and 22 hours ago. And again, this was his most recent buy. So we know his most recent buy worked out to be 1 day, 22 hours ago. So he bought a total of 5 SOL. And then if we look at his next sell, it happened pretty close to where he bought. So yeah, about 20 minutes later, May 17th, same day. Yeah, about 20 minutes later, he made his first sell, and that sell was 3.73. Obviously, he retained quite a bit. And then 1 day, 1 hour ago, so, we're almost getting to another full day that's been going through. Not quite, more like 20 hours. But 20 hours, he still is holding the remainder of his tokens. And his next sell is substantially smaller than his first sell. But his next sell is yielding him a lot more sold because, again, that's going to be his next sell that we see here. So, he sold right away most of a good amount of his balance, but he kept enough to then make a sell about 20 hours after his first initial sell. And then you can see kind of based on this bubble here that his next sell was in and around that same time. It's spiking by the looks at this chart right here. This chart looks pretty decent, actually. It looks like it has some type of longevity, It's been around for a couple days now, a few days, and it looks like it might work a next leg up, but this is a good spike. I mean, he held through that, and then decided to sell both of that spike. So it's kind of interesting to see that, he got 4 SOL for this, 4 SOL for this, or about 4.5 SOL. I'm going to average this to 4.5 SOL, and then we're going to take this at 3 SOL. And then that's 7, add another half. We'll consider that half, 8 SOL, plus another 4.2. So we know that he made like 12 SOL off of his 5 SOL initial investment. So, I mean, he fared off pretty good on that trade, but had he only have held this amount that he had here, because this amount is what works out to be almost 5 times more than these cells. So if he had 5 times 4, he would have a 20 sold left to sell up here. But obviously, he took it here. But interesting to see how this guy traded. So he got some back right away, but he didn't get all of his initial back. So he was still down. But he let it ride, and then it ended up, spiking quite a bit. And when it did spike, he was able to sell during, those are great periods of times to sell. Obviously, looking at where the chart is now, he couldn't have got much better. It went up a little bit higher, but not so much. But it's interesting to see that how long he was holding on this trade, because some people could be driven nuts by this type of trading unless you really start to trust your trader, because he's buying like a decent bit. Say you're copying him for 100% and you bought 5 SOL as well, and then he takes profit pretty much, right away, within an hour or so, or less than that. But you're still not in profit. So he's still holding bags that are quite small towards what you bought, and you still haven't recovered it back. But it ended up working out on the trade here, where if you just held along with him, you would be profitable. But I don't know if everyone's down to hold for a full day. And to see how the trader that you're following trades is quite important, because if you're like, yeah, this isn't a ride that I want to go on to, you can easily skip that trader. But for the sake of learning and the sake of being able to pull up trades of our traders, we're going to go on and see his second trade and see how similar or how different or what he did on his second trade here. All right, so Zach was his first trade. WGS was his second trade. Okay, so right here, I can already see like why, only 4 unique trades, but we see a lot of buying and selling activity. And then we see a chart like this where it's completely lit up. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Actually, let me make this chart in an hour time. Is this working out better for us? No, let me zoom in. Zoom, 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 zoom. All right. This is a great example for you guys to see, because when you're, tailing a trader, how we were talking in previous voice chats about, sometimes it's nicer if your trader only goes in with one buy and one sell. That way you can kind of predict what's going to happen. And if you're low on SOL and stuff, you're not going to get hit by a ton of buys. Say you put this guy at just a 1 SOL buy, but he buys as many times as he does, you might not have that in your account. But let's look at what he did. All right. So his first buy was made, and I'm not going to open it up too far to look at the specific times, because we do have a good timestamp here. So 11 days and 12 hours ago, he bought 1 SOL. And then just an hour after that, we'll say he bought another 0.8. And then within that same hour, he bought 0.5. 10 days, 1 hour ago. So 20 hours after that, he bought 0.8. And then in the same hour, he bought 0.7. So this was, again, over the course of, a day that he's doing this. But he's buying a lot, and we can see here that based on his buys, his first buy being coming down on that dip, and then he's dollar cost averaging, and he's just trying to get more and more into this dip. So it looks like this guy has pretty decent conviction on this play here, right? But again, how many buys is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's 6 buys. So if you guys had this guy set at 1 SOL, because again, he's usually trading on average at 1 SOL, then you're going to end up putting out 6 SOL of risk to be in this trade. And that might not be something that is comfortable for you. So maybe with this guy, you want to trade him with a different strategy. So instead of doing 1 SOL for his buys, maybe your account balance is a lot less than this gentleman's, or you want to risk a lot less. Maybe you do maybe you do 25% of what he buys. So here he bought a SOL, you would have only bought 0.25. Here he bought 0.8, you would have only bought 0.2, and so forth and so on. You might want to have a different strategy for when you see guys who slam buys like this. I do have one guy who does that, but it just works out for me. So I trust him. Like sometimes he like really is taking a dent into my holdings, but he usually does a pretty good job at either making me money off that and quite a bit, or he does a pretty good job at mitigating risk. And if he doesn't mitigate the risk when I'm in that deep with this is a guy I said, again, I'm talking about my guy in a hypothetical situation, not this guy. But that's the guy who said that I don't leave him on when I go to sleep, just because if he does do a bunch of crazy buys like this and I'm in for 6 SOL or I'm in for 10 SOL or something like that, like I want to monitor it, because like this guy's got, you know, tons and tons of like expendable SOL. So sometimes he does just sell when it's like pretty much dust. Sometimes he's really great at retention, but either way, I want to monitor it. And someone like this, you may want to only have on if you're monitoring too. All right, so we can see that he went on to trade almost 3 days now. 3 days between his last buy and his first sell. And then from here, it doesn't look like he buys anymore. It just looks like he's spamming sells, spamming sells, spamming sells, spamming sells. You know, and you can see he's like, I'm not even adding that up. Like we can see he's recovering, you know, by the amount of cells that are going off and what they're going off for. But he was really, really scaling out. And this could hurt someone who has their who has their gas too high. If you have your gas cranked up like I did, and there's $5 per every transaction here on the sell, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're at 2.53. Then you want 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. He has a lot. I'm not even going to count them all, but it's like close to 40 cells that he put off there. So if I know that in 10 cells with 0.025 gas that I had set before, it worked out to be around $50. I know in 40 cells, it's going to be $200 of gas just to get my cells out of there. So again, another really good reason why it's important to check how the trader trades, because we saw how he traded on the first token, and it was completely different than how he traded on this token. It's almost like he completely switched up his strategy. I mean, just the amount of cells that he was firing off are absolutely crazy. The amount of buys that he put in were quite significant. Do we have any questions about any of this? Is this like, I hope it's valuable to you guys to see different types of traders and how they will trade, and to see like if a strategy would make sense for you guys or not, because it's not like he didn't end up making money off of this. He definitely made money off of this, but like the trading strategy might be a little bit aggressive for some people. The holding time might be a little bit too much for some people
Yeah,
too.
no, this is very insightful. Just in this case, let's say, for example, right, that you were intending to copy like this guy. Would you perhaps set your buy and sell gas differently, seeing as though he would make fewer buys and more sells? Or do you generally keep your gas fees the same for buy and sell?
So here's the issue that I find with Trojan in specific, and that's the bot that I use. I love it. I love the UI. It's pretty reliable. I mean, there's a couple hiccups, but it's usually if I'm on a server that's overloaded. But with Trojan, it gives you an option in copy trade to set the trader's gas differently. So say I copy trade this guy, I can enter to copy trade him at 0.0075, even though my traditional gas is double that at 0.015. But I see how much this guy is trading, so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to decrease my gas. I can see he's dollar cost averaging quite a bit. I really can see that when he's buying and selling that, there's room to get in. There's no crazy spikes happening and stuff when he's buying and selling. It looks pretty steady keel here. So I would maybe do that in my strategy, but when you set that gas with Trojan, I don't know for you guys if it works, and it's just for me and my friend. But like I said, you guys know I trade with a friend, and we've tested it multiple times to adjust like gas for different traders, but it only ends up using our priority gas that we set in the main menu. So whatever I put this trader to, say I put him down to 0.0075 because I see how much he's trading and I want to save on some gas. What ends up happening is it ends up using my core set gas, which is 0.015. So even though I would want to have that different strategy, if I was only following him, what could I do? Well, if I was only following him or my other traders, it made sense to use lower gas too. I could just change my settings in the main menu part to 0.075. But because I have other guys who I need higher gas for based on the way that they're trading, I unfortunately, with the way it's set up, I have to take a blanket approach, meaning that if I do something for one person, one trader, it applies to all traders.
Yeah, I use Trojan as well. I didn't know that was the case. Yeah, I'll definitely like look into my own settings to make sure whatever I set in the main menu setting is more or less the same as what I
Well,
intend to do for the copy trades.
yeah, man. You should look into Soul Scan to see how much gas you're actually using because I think that it's going to end up being the gas that you set in your main menu in your priority because that's what it's been for me the whole time. No matter how many times I've traded my copy traders, added new copy traders, changed theirs up, it just always uses my same gas. The only weird thing is that sometimes it uses such little gas on the cell, and I don't understand why, but it will use like there'll be 3 zeros before the amount, so it'd be 0.000 at least, and then some number, which wasn't what I set at all for my cell, and Trojan uses that, and I don't know if it's like a thing they do to kind of like prioritize what you need for the cell, and it's like, you know how slippage, it's like you can set it to 80 but it doesn't always use 80, so it's like maybe my cell gas for Trojan, it's like it's not always using the full amount because it's just prioritizing what I need. So my transactions end up working out fine, but I find like my buy is always consistent. That it uses that 0.015 gas that I use, but my cell can oftentimes vary. Sometimes it will use that gas, but sometimes it will use something much lower, which some of these things I just don't have fully figured out. I guess the best way to figure something like that out, it would be asking Trojan support, but it hasn't affected me enough yet where I have even bothered to ask them. I think right now it's actually being pretty beneficial because some of my exits aren't using that much gas and I'm still getting good exits.
Like a whole another rabbit hole to chase. But I wonder if it
Oh,
has to do with like commissions or how that's calculated. But who knows, right?
yeah, man. I mean, as I go further into this, because I had a very good understanding of copy trade prior to doing this, prior to taking on this position with Zelphi Guru, I had a very good understanding, right? And that's why I got hired. But um, now that I'm teaching you guys, there's some things that I just didn't have a deep understanding of, and I'm finding myself looking into it more because sometimes you guys have questions that I just won't have the answer to right away. So I'm like, man, like that's just really something I never had thought of because it didn't affect my copy trading, but I can see it's affecting some of your guys' situations, regardless if it's copy trading, regular trading, or it's just affecting you whatsoever. So I'm constantly learning about some of these things that like seemed rather unimportant to me because I know they're important to you guys, right? I could operate my copy trade experience and have the learning that I had, and it was enough for me to continue to be very successful, to become more profitable, to find better wallets. So like, I was rolling good, but now put into a position where there's teaching going on and there's people who are wanting to learn about different aspects. I'm having to dig a little bit deeper into these intricacies that I just wouldn't have cared for before. So, at the end of the day, it makes me a better trader. And, you guys have questions that you want to have answered that maybe I never would have cared for. But, as we go on, not only will I continue to learn, not only will you guys continue to learn, but as I'm learning and I'm sharing my experiences with you and you're sharing your experiences with me, what ends up happening is there's a collaboration where it's like, wow, he shared something really interesting with me and very insightful with me. And then you brought up a question and I didn't really know it. I had to look into it or think about it a little bit. And now there's an insightful part that's coming back to me where I'm learning. So I really hope people get a lot out of coming to these voice calls, because this collaboration that's happening is knowledge that we may not have picked up for another 6 months or a year without having so many different brains looking at so many different things.
I don't know if I speak for the others, but I personally gain a lot of knowledge from your VCs, and hopefully we continue this as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if it's helping people, if people are showing up, if people feel like they're getting knowledge, then the voice chats will continue. If at some point in time, people just aren't bothering coming, people aren't participating, people feel like they're not getting out what they need, then it just doesn't make sense to do them. But I think as of now, everyone, for the most part, there's just been positive feedback. So I'm happy. But at the same time, we've been touching on a lot of surface level stuff, especially in the early days. We're starting to dive deeper now. So that surface level stuff can kind of tend to get repetitive and stuff. And with copy trading, it is kind of something that is maybe difficult when you first start. But once you hear the basics of how to do it, and you're seeing screens and people are showing you exactly how to do it, you can get a pretty good understanding of how to be a successful copy trader and how to have a lot of knowledge and how to apply that knowledge. But as we go forward, it's like we got to continue to push the envelope, and that's not only for you guys, but that's also for myself, because I don't want to ever be stuck at a point where I'm like, yeah, I got this far and I'm really good at finding wallets now, and I'm really good at finding strategies, and this is how far my knowledge is going to go, and I'm not going to get better. Because if copy trading is what I'm doing full time, which it is, between copy trading and being on these voice chats, doing a little bit of teaching and stuff, which again revolves around copy trading, like I want to continue to sharpen my skills every day, so that when we go into voice calls, the information is not getting dry, it's not getting boring, we're getting fresh stuff, we're learning new skills as we go. And I hope that you guys all feel that same way too, that you don't want to plateau within the current knowledge that you already have. All right. I think
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
just unmuted
definitely,
themselves.
definitely.
It was Andy. What's up, man?
What's going on? Morning, morning, morning. How are you, brother?
Good morning. I am really good. I got my iced coffee beside me from McDonald's, of course, and
Yes, yeah.
it's a good way to start the morning on the voice chat. We're chopping it up. Everything's good. How are you doing? How's your weekend been?
I'm good. I'm good. I not too long got up too. So got up, seen you guys on the call, so jumped on, seeing what's going on. My question was though, where's the calls being posted now? Like for these times, or are
Where
we
are
just hopping
calls
on?
being posted? So technically in the flood room. Flood room is like where I'm posting stuff. I will see with Surge eventually. Maybe I can post in announcements and stuff, and that's better off for people. Or maybe I could get a mention bot put in where I can post that I'm going to do a call at like this time because it's the
Right.
weekend. I want to, get the call done. It's already afternoon time for me. I know it's afternoon time for a
Yeah.
lot of you guys. So get the call done and out of the way. So it's the weekend. I want us to have the rest of the day after the call to either implement some of these things we learned here or just fucking go out and enjoy your weekend,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 'cause I thought it would have been under. I don't know. There was something called Cell Maker Announcer Bot. So I don't know. Like I thought it was like gonna be posted like in announcements or something. But like this is the second one kind of that I popped on. Like I said, yesterday's one too, and I didn't recognize that we were having a call. So I'm like, oh shit, man! Like, where where is it being posted? Is it being pinned or something too, or no?
Yeah, so
Like,
um
I
hold
think maybe like he
go
should get.
ahead, go on. I'm not going to answer you just yet because I'm actually taking your advice and writing out to the development team about a better system to alert you guys for calls because I don't think it's that you guys don't want to be on calls. Like we have a pretty good turnout here. I'm happy with the amount of people who are here and not many
Yeah,
people dropped off, many people are listening, but I feel like a lot of people are missing the call just because they don't know about it. If everyone knew about it and they got announced and there was like a pinger that went off, like a mention all bot or something like that,
yeah,
maybe
something. Yeah,
maybe
because
double, triple the people would be here.
yeah, like literally, like I said, this is the second one. Like I was on yesterday's ones too, but it just so happened that I went into my Telegram and seen like the voice thing going off, so I jumped on. But actually, as for knowing it was scheduled for whatever time, I had no clue. So I mean, it probably might be better to just, I don't know, either make a channel that says, I don't know, call, I don't know, voice calls, announcements or something. I don't know. I'm just, again, brainstorming and talking out loud, but I literally
Yeah,
didn't even notice that there was a call today or yesterday.
there's a bot that it's called like mention all bot. And what it will do is if I post an announcement saying that there's going to be a call in 20 minutes, I can do at mention all and it will like reply to every single person who's in the group. So it will give you guys like a message as if someone replied to you within that group. So that should definitely help.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, if we figure out a better strategy, obviously we're going to implement that. But I think that is a pretty good strategy to do it because even when we post it into the
The flood room.
the announcements, a lot of people don't see the announcement channel. They don't have it on, right? Like a lot of people have this stuff muted, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that would be a good way. But thanks for bringing that to my attention because at least I know now that there's people who want to be here that just don't
Yeah,
know
that might
when
not
it's
know.
going
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. But I'm happy you made it. It sounds like you had a late night last night. If you're just getting up now.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, we were up at the cottage. So we're up at the cottage with the family and long weekend, as you know, in Canada. So yeah, man. Just not too long got up. We were up late watching movies with the nieces and nephews, and then the wife and the family. So yeah, man.
Good stuff.
Did some
Good stuff.
trading. Did some trading. Well,
I
my
saw you
my
post one of your
employees,
gains.
my employees did some training while I was asleep. So
Yeah, I saw you
I just
post.
posted in the results, man. Again, like
Oh,
if I didn't
nice,
learn it
nice.
from you, if I didn't learn it from you and the team, there's no way I'd be waking up to plus 170 games.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm happy to hear it. And I saw you post about your gains that you had yesterday. So I can see that it looks like you're really catching on with this information and doing well with it. I don't like to go over my gains too much. I talk about my experiences, but I don't like to. I want you guys to constantly like gas your
Correct.
gains and share with everyone. But like for me, I don't feel like it's so important. I
Yeah,
mean, if I'm taking the role of a teacher, it's like I kind of want
correct.
to celebrate
I
your
agree.
wins.
I
Your
agree with
wins
you.
before mine.
And also I'm not a wins poster either, but I think that for the community and for everybody on the call, I will reiterate what Amari had probably said before, which is it's not about posting it to show off or anything. It's about posting it to show that it is possible. It's about posting it to show that it's possible. Because again, for the people that might not know me or might not have heard my voice before or whatever, I literally started copy trading, I think it was Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. And these are the results that I'm having already. Mind you, I have a background and I've traded before, like actual traded before on stocks and options and stuff, but charts and technical analysis, etc. But the actual copy trading, I'm brand new to, and I only started earlier this week. And so far, I think combined, I probably am clearing 600 something percent, which on average is like 100% a day since I started. So yeah, so I I posted in there, people posted in there. I see Rough Bets, he's like killing it. That guy's on fire, but I want people to look at it from the point of view that the results room is just to show, you know what? You might think, oh, this is crap, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And then clearly we post and say, yeah, look, it is working. Even if it's, I don't care, even if it's 25%, 5%, whatever, the bigger picture is that you put on a copy trade and your trader made you money, and you should celebrate that because literally you did the work. You came here, you sat on the call, you probably went through the useful information, you probably watched all the videos and rewatched them, and you put that trader on and he made money. That should be celebrated, guys. For everybody here, it's a upliftment to all of us in this community because at the end of the day, it it's a small community. I know we may say, oh, it's 1,700, almost 1,800 members, blah, blah, blah. But in the bigger spectrum of trading, we're a small community, and what we're doing is a niche thing. I don't think much people are doing what we're doing. And I just want to thank Mary and the team and Serge for actually bringing this kind of opportunity to us. So yeah, Amara, you can continue, but I just wanted the community to know that, yeah, it's possible. Take a look in FOMO room and results and see that it's still possible. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I love to share testimonies about how you guys are doing, especially someone like you who, you know, have come on less than a week ago and already having major results and sharing them with, you know, myself and sharing them with the whole group. And no one ever knows, right? For example, if Andy is posting his results, you don't know that he just started, you know, 4 or 5 days ago, but it's just a clear indication of what you put into this is what you get out. And I cannot express that enough. And I say that often is because someone like himself and someone like yourself can come into these voice chats, can, you know, read up on everything that you can that's posted in the useful info. You can ask questions in the flood room. You can ask questions in my DMs. And I would say out of all the people that have asked me the most questions, Andy definitely has asked me the most questions. He's got the gold medal for that. But at the same time, the fact that he wasn't afraid to spam me with questions and I'm available to answer questions, even if you ask me 10, 15, 20 different questions, it was a direct result. The next day I saw that he's sharing with me gains that he's made. And now it's been every day pretty much since then that he's making gains from his knowledge that he's getting from copy trades. So I'm not going to attribute that to myself. I'm going to attribute that to his hard work and his dedication. But knowing that there are people who are brand new that that are really digging deep, and they're asking questions, they're coming to voice chats, they're learning, and they're going out and killing it, and they're making money copy trading in less than a week. It just goes to show you guys that it's out there for all of us. I'm making good money copy trading to the point where I'm able to go out yesterday after a voice chat, answer some questions while I'm out, but mostly enjoying my day, and my copy traders trade for me, and I can be out and I can be spending money, eating, buying my family food at a restaurant, and that money is coming in literally as I'm at that restaurant, just eating there. So that's the possibilities of copy trading and what it can do for you. In a very short time, Andy showed you what it's doing for him. I've been doing it for quite a long time now, and I'm kind of sharing you guys a little bit about what it's doing for me, and just know that it's the same possibilities are there for you. Just you gotta want it, and you gotta search for it every day, and you gotta sharpen your skills every day, and you gotta be hungry. All right, so let's move on to more information and more knowledge, because at the end of the day, repetitiveness, and the more you look at something, the more you get a feel for something, the better off you're going to be. So we're looking at the next chart from that same alpha trader that we pulled up there, and right off the bat, we can see, let me just scroll a little bit over, and I'm already there. So 4 days ago, so this was his third trade. We've already looked at 2 now. You remember, it's mostly all in this area, just right before it ramps up. It's like, odd to see, because it's a chart that, died off after its initial pump, right? But he's buying all in this area. So, when malls get tagged alpha, it's usually because they have some insider information, and clearly he's buying right before something's happening. Either callers start pushing it, there's a community that's ready to CTO it. He's got some information, but it starts spiking, and when it starts spiking at the top here, he's starting to sell all the way down. So we can see that he bought, we'll consider that 1 SOL, we'll consider that 2 SOL right there, and then 2.8 SOL. And then you can see all of the sells he made. And right here, we'll consider that 2 SOL, 3 SOL, 4 SOL. Okay, he's already in profit. Another SOL, another SOL. Yeah, he did very well on this trade. So, I mean, following these alpha wallets, you need to have a strategy behind them based on how you trade. If we only looked at his first trade, you might have said, oh, we can go 100% with this guy. He's trading one at a time, and looks like he's trading with lower amounts, but now up 4 days, 15 hours ago. And then first sell 4 days, 3 hours ago. So what that works to be about 12 hours, right? Okay, so we know that this guy is generally holding for a long time, and there's room for us to get in there, and we might even want to take profits early and stuff like that, but we know that this guy's holding for a long time, so if that's something that we're looking for, we know that this guy could be it. If that's something we're absolutely not looking for, we know that it's good we analyze his trade, so we don't end up entering a trade where we get stuck for the better part of a day within his trades. But I think this was a really great example to look at to see, but based on his first year, you're not going to have friction here. There's no friction here. Look at how little the increases are going over price. You can go in there with lower gas, and you're not going to use too much slippage because there's not a lot of trading activity going on until it really starts to pump off. But we saw all these buys were, significantly before it started to pump off. So does anyone have any questions with all that? No, good stuff. All right. So let me see what I am looking at here. All right. So at this point in time, I wanted to give us a better understanding of how we can search for wallets. So we learned how to do that. Now I'm also going to pull up my Telegram again quickly because although I showed you how to do it, I showed you just with one instance, and it should have been pretty clear how to do it with other instances, but just in case it's not, we're going to go over quickly how to do it in other instances, just in case we're looking for different wallets, right? All right, everyone can see the profitable wallet screen, okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, so we looked for alpha wallets in this instance, but anytime you're going to look for any type of wallet, say you're looking for a fresh wallet, fresh wallets oftentimes do encounter alpha as well, because a lot of times these fresh wallets are loaded, and they're loaded to hit a play, and they hit that play once and then they're done. Some of them do actually go on to have that fresh wallet be a wallet that they're going to use and they're going to trade with. But that's something to keep in mind. When you see these fresh wallets, you often see that alpha pair, and that's the reason why. And again, when we use fresh wallets, why are we using fresh wallets? Well, it's similar to why we would search up for alpha wallets, because these are wallets that, we can see have hit. They made, a good amount of SOL. So we want to look at the ones that, have made good amount of SOL. This guy had one trade, 8.17 SOL, 8.63 SOL, 3.25. And we want to take a look at those and see if this is a wallet that we want to start tracking to see if their future performance falls still in this category of alpha. Obviously, the fresh will go at some point. Okay, so that's how we look for fresh, and that's kind of how we use fresh wallets. And then scalpers are going to be the exact same thing. Remember, it's just hashing before we put everything. And let me do that again. Okay. So with the scalper wallets, again, there's going to be lots of instances when you can't trade these wallets. And the second part we went into by being able to look at these trades, how we just looked at the trades for that last alpha wallet we were looking at, the same thing we want to do for the scalpers, because again, the scalpers, you can trade, but only in instances when the trades make sense. And I kind of showed you when trades make sense and when they don't. A lot of times it has to do with timeline. A lot of times it has to do with their entries and exits. But now you know how to do that. So if you want to go through and look at some scalpers, exactly the same way that you pull up scalpers. Okay, so at this point, we went through.
How did you get your thing to look like that again, Mary?
Can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I can still
Okay.
hear. I was just asking, how did you get your layout to go like that just now, where everything was like in lines,
like this?
Just on my phone.
Like how I have it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just typed in, and I'm on a desktop, by the way. It's different when you're on a phone. But I just typed in a hashtag scalper, but again, you could type hashtag alpha. You can type hashtag any of the ones that we have, fresh, anything like that.
Okay.
Hashtag sniper. But the drop down menu will come down like this, and the first one that you see here is going to be the earliest wallet, and then as you scroll down, we're going to get to later wallets. But we can go so far down that we're finding wallets from 10 days ago, and they're starting to gain more history.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
You see this? Like you see this one that I'm looking at now, like it has a full history. This one too, because we've now like scrolled down. We're able to find some alpha wallets that have more history. So, and you might want to go back and look at alpha wallets that are a little bit older that have started to prove themselves. Right? We see this one, looks good, lots of green happening here. We can also see kind of what's going on, the profit, 187 sold. Like we can get a lot of good statistics from that drop down menu. We also could see the flags there, but yeah, see that this guy is a sniper. It also showed in there. But this is really useful for you guys to use when you don't want to look through snipers because it's not your strategy. You don't want to look through scalpers because it's not your strategy, whatever it may be. So you want to look through alpha and fresh, and you want to be able to scroll down quickly and be able to get a lot of information on those, right?
Okay, so that search menu is only available on desktop, pretty much, I would assume?
No, it's available on your phone, but it looks quite different. Not completely different. One sec, I'm going to pull it up on my phone and I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
No worries. All right, so I'm just in profitable wallets here. So if I do it on my phone, I'll click profitable wallets at the top once I get there, and then it will give me an option to unmute or to search, or mute or to search. And I'm going to go to search, and then if I type
profitable wallets, where are you clicking on your phone to pull up the search? The top or the bottom? Where?
So right where it says profitable wallets and 14,580 members, you click that.
Okay. When I click that, it brings up media files, links. It doesn't bring up a search.
Do you see search at the top? It should be in the middle.
Mine is under there's like 3 dots. I don't know if you're on Apple or Android.
You're on Android?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it's different. So click your 3 dots and press search.
Yeah. Okay,
and then
there we go.
Search hashtag, let's say alpha, just for example.
Okay, hashtag alpha.
Then you have to press enter.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give you the same drop down, but it does give you these arrows at the side where you can go like up from where you're at. So it'll give you the more recent one, and then you can go up or down. You see that?
Yeah. So the more recent one is the ones on the top or the bottom?
The more recent ones are going to be the first one that comes to you.
Okay.
So as you start going up, you're actually going to older ones.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, it's showing it as the card. So for Android users, there's a little thing in the bottom that says show as list. But then it shows it just shows it as the name. It doesn't show it like how you can't see the little bubbles.
So even on my my iPhone, it's not the best. Like when I get to that point and I can kind of use those arrows and stuff and go through alpha. Sorry?
I said when you get to the card like that, I guess the best thing is just to scroll through the card, like the info card.
Yeah, that's the second best thing to do. Like that's what I was doing before, but since I've been working a lot with finding wallets and looking quickly, I've been using a computer, and I didn't like using a computer before. I'm usually just a phone user, a mobile user. That's how I trade and everything. But you can see based on my screen here, obviously what I have is a lot more beneficial than what you can get on a phone.
Yeah.
If you really want to be grinding and you want to make good use of your time, use the computer. If
Okay.
you just have your phone and you just want to, work away and like you're just sitting back on your couch, but you still want to grind, I mean, you can obviously use your phone, but the computer is a lot easier to use.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you, brother.
No problem. Okay, so mainly my focus today was to continue to go over wallets in the profitable wallet section. So today what we learn how to do is not only go through the wallets in the profitable wallet section like we have been doing over the past couple days now, but we learn how to search for wallets distinctively on the tag that they have. So if we do not want to filter through all of the scalpers, we don't want to filter through all the snipers per se, we can look for alpha. If you're looking for a strategy where you want to follow snipers and you want to enter on the dips, you can look for just snipers. And you know the way to do this now for any of the tags that we have is you do hashtag followed by the tag. All right, so hashtag sniper, hashtag alpha, hashtag fat fresh, whatever it may be. So we went over that. So I hope you guys have a very good understanding on how to utilize that. That can save you a lot of time when you're going through these wallets and key point in on the wallets that you actually want to be looking for. Additionally, we went through an alpha wallet and we spent some time looking through the trades. And as we start to look through more trades, and what I mean by that is actually pulling them up on Deck Screener like we did. So we pulled them up on Deck Screener. We looked through 3 of the trades that they had out of the four trades that they had. We saw on the first trade, if we just used that information alone, we would have had a bad idea on how to execute profitably on that wallet. But by looking at the other 2 trades, we got an idea for how this trader is often trading, because the majority of the time he's trading with a lot of buys and a lot of sells. Yes, he's profitable. Yes, he's within the alpha wallets, but is this a thing, a type of wallet that we can make a strategy for that makes sense for us? Do we want, and we also saw holding times, which is very important. Do we want to hold a trade over 12 hours? So as we go more into this now, you guys have a better understanding on how to look for the tags that you need to, and you also have a better understanding how quickly you can find a wallet within the profitable wallets using the tags, and then you can just click into their last trades. You can analyze them. You can look over their times. You can see if it makes sense to you. And this is going to be what really tells you, can I trade this wallet or not? Does it fit my strategy or not? And how much further do I want to look into this wallet? Is this a wallet that I'm going to save and follow? Is this a wallet that I'm going to start off with a small amount? Because at that point in time, we've done basically the research that you can do, right? Because we have Zelphi Guru, which gives us all the statistics that we need. But again, the statistics, we need to see how they reflect on the chart. Now, when you're able to go to the chart and see what the chart represents, then you're able to have a very good idea of how to make an approach for this. So going forward, we are going to continue to look at more wallets. Today, we spent time with the Alpha wallet. We can start looking at scalpers. We could start looking at snipers and talk about how we could make strategies for those. I wanted to start with the ones that can be copy traded today and are easy to find. And I hope with today's takeaways that you got, that you've learned a lot and you'll be able to be a lot more efficient now in looking for wallets. Now, before I close things up, I always like to open it up for questions, just in case you have a question today and you don't want to wait till tomorrow to ask me.
Would it be the right time to do like a live like wallet analysis, or is that something I should sort of DM you about?
Live wallet analysis?
Like if I had a wallet that I was looking at that was in the profitable wallets like chat, and I wanted to have a look at it. Do you think it's better I just DM you and we talk about it, or you want to do it here? If that's
I don't mind either way. So the one thing is you guys should be aware of, if you share a wallet here and we analyze it here, everyone is going to have access to that wallet if it turns out to be something good. And we have 10 people here, say 5 people end up wanting to trade that wallet. You might get a lot of people trading a wallet that was good, and it may flag them to maybe drop that wallet. That's always something. So like if the wallet you don't think is like crazy and it's not something like you really wanted to trade, like you could always drop it here and we'll go over it for analysts. But if it's something that you think is like potentially really good and you might want to keep to yourself, or just yourself and one of the team members, we can do it over DMs and I can go over it with you. Whatever works better for you, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy of a wallet. I just wanted you to have a look at it so I can obviously get a better insight into your sort of step-by-step analysis of the wallet, right?
All right, let's do it, man. Send it to me via DM and we'll pull it up.
I'm sending it right now.
Sounds good.
I sent it.
It's Nav, right?
That's right.
Okay, good stuff. All right. You guys can see my scanner, correct?
Yep. Can see the screen.
All right. Perfect. Just going to paste this wallet in here and we're going to do an analysis together. I'm going to kind of go over it. I can read over it. I can touch on some points, but I want you guys to put your input in on how you think this wallet is. Okay, so looking at this wallet, what we can do first is the visual representation. We can see the green days kind of look like they're outweighing the red days here. That's what we can first see. We can then match up the numbers with the losses and the gains. We can see the loss that he had in our most recent day of data was pretty big. It was a 20 soul loss, which kind of takes out that 20 soul gain, but is a 15 soul gain before. Okay, so we got an idea of that. But by looking at this, this kind of gives us a visual representation, but it's always better to look down here at the profit and ROI, win rate, all that. Okay, so by looking at this, we can see he's made 43 soul out of the course of time of him trading, and he's been trading for, it looks like, under just under a month here. So that's not pretty, and that's not bad in like 14 days or so. His ROI is almost a 2x on every trade, and his win rate is quite decent at a 60% win rate. All right, so unique tokens I want to look at, because although it looks like he may have traded quite a bit of unique tokens, the unique tokens were truly at 5. So we don't really have a lot of data in terms of the unique tokens. I mean, it's decent, but it's not that much. Now for flags, again, this is something that came through the profitable wallet, so we know it's never going to be something that's crazy on the flags, but it didn't sold, only happened once, and then sold overbought only happened once. Even though the percentages are larger, it just works out to be that way because, again, there's not too much data within this set here. Okay, but what is interesting to see here, because we know all losses and gains aren't made equally, his largest percent, which within our kind of how the profit fared out, works out to be 40%, which is 2 mooners, which went over 5x. So the mooners are indicated with the rocket here. So then his these percentage tie with the between 2 to 5x, and then his loss that he has, which is under 50%. So he never took a loss that was more than 50%. So we know that that is quite good. Okay, so we have the buys 41, sells 54. We know that he's scaling out usually, just 1 or 2 trades. You know what? In this case, he's scaling out quite a bit, just because the unique number of tokens, and then we see how many buys. This means he's buying quite a bit and he's selling quite a bit on each token to achieve those buys and sells within unique tokens bought, which is 5. And we'll see that when we look at that on the chart. All right, so average time between buy and sell is 12 hours, 13 minutes. So, half a day. Average buy volume, about 1 SOL. Okay, so Charlie, his latest was a no sell. And then we have, let's look at his WGS trade. I'm not going to look at his no sell trade because, again, those are like those flags that, didn't sell right there. So I'm not going to bother looking at that. But let's look at the WGS trade. I'm going to pull it up here on Dex Screener. Verify you're human. I'm definitely human. All right.
I had a question. When it says no sell, right, does that mean like he bought the trade and for a certain amount of time, like he didn't sell it? Like there was a parameter set by Zelfie Guru that pretty much says like if he doesn't sell in this time, we consider it a no sell.
Yeah, essentially. So like no sells can mean like he literally just dusted the token, or no sell could also mean that it's just been a while now that he's holding the token and hasn't sold on it. So you want to go look into that. Like if it has a no sell, but you can see he's still holding the token and the token's worth some value, that no sell is an equivalent to if he dusted it. You know what I mean?
Got you. That makes sense.
Okay, so let's look at his buys, and we can see that our interpretation was right, that he was buying a lot and selling a lot because, again, he only had like 5 or 6 unique tokens, but then his, buys were up to like, I think there were 40 something, right? So that gave us an indication that he was buying and selling a lot. And we open up his first trade, other than the one where he didn't sell, and we can see there is an awful lot of buys. So
hey, Amiri, we can't see the Dex Screener screen.
Oh, good to know. Perfect. I'll get you to it right now.
Thanks.
No, thank you for letting me know. All right, you guys should be able to see it now. All right, so I'm gonna start back from, wait, I'm right where I need to be actually. Okay, so we can see a SOL buy. We'll consider this a SOL buy, half a SOL buy, another half a SOL buy. Yeah, so he's buying quite a bit, right? So again, if you're following this guy, you want to have some type of strategy with him, because if you see his average buys are around a SOL, and you're just buying a SOL, sometimes he's buying less than a SOL, 0.2 less, this one a whole half less. You might want to follow someone like this on a percentage basis based on how they're buying. You could follow them maybe at 100% if that made sense to you, if everything checked out, or you'd follow them at 50 or 25%, something like that, right? But we can see that through his trade, he significantly made more. We can see it represented just off the chart. Obviously, if his buys are placed here and he's placing all of his sells up here after it spiked, even his lower sells at these points are significantly higher than his buys. So we know that he made, good profits on these buys, but he also scaled out like crazy. I mean, there's almost like 20 sells there. So if your gas is cranked up really high, like I said, my gas used to be 0.025, and it was $5 per per sell. So it worked out to be $50 per 10 sells. This is about 20 sells. This is going to be $100 that it would have ate at my gas if my gas was so high. But it doesn't really seem like you would need it. Even though the chart's spiking quite a bit, I mean, he's selling at all different points. As long as you're selling in and around these ranges, you're still selling higher in the buys. So you wouldn't really need high buy gas for a gentleman like this. Okay. Do we have any questions on any of this?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so we might as well take the time to look at some of his other trades. This time I'm not going to show you back to my Telegram because I just want to be able to pull up the next trade and it will pull it up right for you. Okay, so his next trade was a trade called Zach, and he did 2.5 on it. I just want to let you guys know for that trade we just looked at, his total profits was he did a 13.2 gain on that. So he did well. He did over a 10x on that. So let's look at the one where he did 2.4x. So I'm pulling up Zach right now. All right, here we go. So this one, very interesting because it's so different from his buying process either. But can this make sense to us for something that we would follow? Let's see. So we see his first buy was at 131, but we can see his sell came quickly after that just based off the chart. So at 152, okay, so it's still decent time. That's about 20 minutes. He made his first sell, and he only recovered, you know what? 3.73 he recovered from. This one you're sending me looks awfully like the one we went over before. If any of you guys were here from the beginning, you might remember me talking about a guy who bought 5 SOL on one of his trades, and then he didn't sell it all, but he sold the majority of it. And then when it peaked, he sold all in that peaking point, the rest of it, but it happened, hours later, almost half a day later. And he sold in 2 portions that were the same, just like this guy sold in 2 portions that were the same. And I remember he sold for about 4 SOL on both of those. Do you guys remember that, going through that one example?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Is this not the exact same trade?
Well, I wasn't here, so I can't say.
I think you brought us a wallet that we actually already went over.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, I'm almost certain.
Tabs on top.
Can someone else confirm that?
Yeah, I think a few tabs to your left, you might see the same wallet.
Yeah. I think this is the exact same wallet. So, we did a full analysis of this wallet. We looked over even further. We looked over another token. So you can always go back and scroll back into the video to check this out. If it's not this wallet, I'm going to be bewildered, like a little bit like mind shocked, because the guy bought 5 SOL. I know that he sold most of his position right away, but he kept a decent position, and then he sold them both almost at the same time at the peak there. And I said, the chart looks still pretty nice. It looks like it could still go on. I'm pretty sure it was this exact same wallet.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Honestly, I had another question when you were analyzing this wallet, though, in terms of your gas fees for selling. So obviously, if you have someone that is selling quite frequently, you want to have your gas fees like cranked up pretty high. Am I correct by that?
No, so you're correct by that if there is like he's selling and then there's a big downward trend after he sells. But in the case of this gentleman selling, every time he sold, there wasn't like crazy swings going on. So with this particular gentleman in this case, and even in the last case where he was buying and selling a lot, every time you would have sold at that higher, I'll just go back to that screen. Every time you would have sold here, it doesn't matter if you missed out by a little bit, like you're going to be in profit. Your buys were down here, your sells are up here. You know what I mean? So your buys are, yeah, you're about at 2x at the lowest level. So even in this instance, you wouldn't really need too high of gas. And in the instance that we're looking at in Zach, based on how he traded, it was hovering in this range, right? So he just traded at the higher part of this range. It was still, it still stayed right there. So you're going to make about the profits that he should. You shouldn't need much higher gas now in this particular instance.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
No problem. All right. Well, is there anything else that you guys want me to go through? If you guys have a wallet that you want me to go through, I covered everything that I planned on doing today. What my goal is now that we learned the basic building blocks from the first couple voice chats, we're getting more in depth now to actually learning how to analyze tokens properly and what that means. We're going to continue to analyze tokens every day until everyone is on the same level as each other, right? I want the guys who've been here for a week and the guys who've been here for 3 days and the guys who've been here for 2 months both be able to analyze tokens at the same capacity as each other. So now we're taking a deeper dive. Like I said, once we get into the point of time where we're opening up tokens on Deck Screener and really analyzing their trades, we only get to this point is if everything else we checked out looked good. So if we got to this point, this is kind of like our final stop to be like, how am I going to utilize this wallet if I can utilize it, or is it worth utilizing it? But this is kind of our final stop that we get before adding the wallet. So we'll continue to go definitely through a lot more different wallets that we see. We'll start analyzing their trades more until everyone feels completely confident with their ability to analyze. And then after that, we are going to really start talking about different strategies that people use for their copy traders and how we can start implementing them. But like I said, step-by-step process. We've built up a lot from where we started at the beginning of the week. We're getting to the point where analyzing buys and sells on the chart. So everyone who's stuck around and came and asked questions, I mean, you guys are killing it. We're getting to the point where we're all starting to become pretty sufficient and should be able to find great wallets on our own. If not now, very, very soon.
Hey, Amiri.
Hey, Dros, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Okay, so I think you went over this in a previous video, but it was regarding when a copy trader is selling off airdrops. Which flags indicate that?
So didn't buy token, and also sold more than bought.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, again, your final time.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
These airdrops, are they always airdrops? Didn't sold and didn't buy? Or could it be something else?
Didn't sold or didn't buy, are they always airdrops? I mean, 99% of the time, it's only going to result from some type of airdrops. Yeah. It could be airdrops. It could be friends sending tokens. It could be influencers getting tokens sent to them for paid calls. But at the end of the day, these are all airdrops. When someone didn't buy a token organically and they received a token in a way which it was just sent to their wallet and they didn't purchase it, we just consider all those under the same umbrella as airdrops.
Thank you.
Yeah, so on the profitable wallets, it shows it as like an alpha wallet because they're making gains on the airdrops, but they show up as flags, right?
Exactly. So that's why it's so important for you guys to have the understanding. And we've went over this many times. I'm happy to go over whatever we need to again for the people who didn't catch it, because I know not everyone met the voice chats. But the reason we have those there, the flags, is because the data we don't want to skew. So the win rate and the ROI, we don't want to skew it by removing some of those flags, because we remove some of those flags, it definitely affects the win rate and the ROI. But we know this. So if we see something with a higher win rate and we see something with higher ROI, but it also has higher flags, we just know by our knowledge that the win rate and the ROI are going to be skewed by the flags, regardless of what the flag is. If it's sniping, if it's bought more than sold, like, it's going to be skewed by the flag. But it's better for us to have a full encompassing knowledge on what that token holder looks like and what their activity is like, than to like just exclude some things because it looks easier or simpler to the eye, right? It's better for us to have a full understanding so we can see things that might have more data, but the data allows us to have a better understanding of what's really going on.
Okay, that helps. Thanks.
No problem. Anybody else? Yeah, go for it.
I came around a really weird wallet. It showed me that he has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rockets, but there are only 2. And when I go to the bot, like on deck screener, it shows me that he bought him on 166 and made 400 and 500. Like paid out 400 and 500, but it doesn't show it. Like, can I send you the wallet and you look into it and tell me maybe what's wrong with it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, coming.
Do you want me to do that like over the voice chat, or?
Maybe it can help some of them folks to see.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I just want you guys to be mindful of, like, if you guys are sending me a wallet to check and it's something that you think like looks really good and you want to use, like, when we drop it in voice chats, yes, can be helpful for others. But if it's something that you really wanted to use, but then 6 other people jump on that wallet with you at the same time, it might not be a wallet that carries on for a long time. Just so you guys have that mindfulness as you're sharing. I know you guys want to share gracefully and share to everyone, but at the same time, you don't want to always give up something that might be something that's really good that you worked a long time to find.
I've sent it through.
All right. Okay, so now I'm going to have to switch to Telegram.
You know what I mean?
Let's tell what's going on this wallet.
Yeah, there's definitely issues with this wallet, but let's see if we can spot what it is. All right, sold over bought 89%, sell first 78%. So we know that this token is, if it says sell first, obviously that means they never bought, right? didn't buy. It says that the 2%, but sell first 78%, and sold overbought 89%. So these are like incredible, like very, very, very high, 90%, 80%, and the 20%, like very high red, red flags, right? So this isn't something that we would usually consider looking over, but I'm gonna pull up its first trade, Winnie, here, and I'm gonna change my screen to show you guys what happened here.
So when you go in, you can't even see the bought and sell. Like it's randomly. You see,
No.
you can't see when he bought in, but he bought in for 166. It doesn't make sense.
Bought in for 166, and then he sold for 337, and also, oh yeah, no, like if he's buying in for that small and he's selling for that large, he's definitely sniping. Like, there's no way you're buying
the amount of tokens he is selling. He's selling like 26 millions of tokens, and the amount which he actually have bought is just 21,000. So
Yeah.
that's just some airdrop, and this guy absolutely sure is developer or some team of the developer. Actually, Amir, can you go to the wallet checker and show the stats?
Yeah,
just
I can.
If it's not hard for you.
No, I'm
and
getting better at
I'll
it.
send you one more wallet which is more interesting, and I would like you to show this wallet to the guys.
Yeah, send it to me in DM. I'll pull it up.
Okay, listen, when you see such things like all the rockets and some crazy amount of X's made, there can be two reasons for this. First thing, that this wallet makes a buy in this coin, and hide it for 1 second. And when you see a lot of fixes, this means that probably this guy is just making some small buys on the start of the coin, and later he just sells all the tokens he like send it from the start. And of course, this wallet is not suitable for copy trading, but still you can make some like ideas. Is it possible to maybe make a buy after him or something like that? But that's not the first wallets which you want to look at. And the second thing, Amir, can you now show the wallet which I sent to you? You won't be able to check this wallet. He actually withdraws his money and sends them back and so on. But let's go from the top to the down. As you can see, this guy is active for last days. His profits are huge and mostly like crazy every day. If we go down below, we see that for 30 days he made like 1,300 SOL profit. The ROI is good, the win rate is okay. He is not selling some tokens. He is not sniping a lot. You can see there are no other flags, bad flags, I mean. And this guy have like 72 rockets from 113 unique tokens. And this wallet looks like a super alpha, which is like a perfect wallet to follow. But as well to the stats, which we can see that the buys is 113 and sells is like almost 400. So he's like selling each coin around 4 times, and most of the coins he's taking profits like 10x in each coin. And what's the game with this guy? Actually, if you will try to enter these coins from the start, you will be able to do this, but most of them will have the freeze authority turned off. What this means? That this guy can freeze your account from selling this token. So this means that when you find such wallets, it will be like an attraction to the following him. And when you follow this trade, you will just actually lose your money. But the wallet have good stats because this wallet is like a team member, and it never gets freezed by the tokens, but you guys will be. And this is a good example of some clever scam. And if you go to the coins which he's placing, can you, Amiri, just go over one or two coins, and we'll just watch the graph, and you should understand when you are watching the graphs, you should see that the that coins are not looking like a total scam all the time. As you can see, this all these coins will have like similar graphs. There won't be any tokens which are actually like going up, then having some dips, then going up again, then another dips, and so on. You won't see on any of these tokens, and that's another like crucial thing which you need to watch and need to be aware of when you are trading. You see, all the coins just looks like a scam, and when you are finding some good wallets, always watch and be aware of such things.
That was a great example. That's something that we haven't went over before. I have heard some people in the flood room saying that they're sending me the error that they got freeze authority. And essentially what that does is it makes the token pretty much a honeypot, right? No one can sell except for the guys who created the token. So it looks super attractive. The chart's going up. People are buying. The chart's looking pumped. And a lot of people are copy trading guys like him in, as Serge said. But as soon as you get in, you won't be able to sell right away because they see a buy and they go automatically to freeze that account from being able to sell. Yeah, that was a really great example. And you can see from all of the charts, like he said, I pulled up 3 of them now. I'm going on to the 4th. They're all looking, pretty similar. This one looked like it could have been a coin that had some life, was about to die, but then crazily pumped up. But a lot of times these guys are throwing their own money into it to pump it up, to get people to keep on buying up. And they're not worried about it because they know they can sell their own money at any time, but they know that there's other people who are going to supplement the chart to bring it up. So yeah, definitely something that you guys want to be cautious of. And I want to remind you, if at any point you follow a trader into something that you find you can't sell your tokens because of that freeze authority was set, then it is smart to run the previous tokens that this person is trading through a tool to see how many others got hit with freeze authority, because yes, it can be a mistake, but I am finding it's happening to our users, and it's happening 2 times or more, and definitely in that case it's intentional.
This was happening to me on the base tokens, on the base wallets.
And in the base wallets, it's a little bit different. They just do a traditional honeypot. They make it so that you can't sell. And this could be a little bit harder to detect because people don't think honeypots can happen on Sol. And they can't in the sense of where they just cut off everyone for trading. But they effectively can do the same thing by using the freeze authority, right? That's why if you're entering a token yourself, if you're not copy trading, it's really important that the token is at least renounced, or that the mint and the freeze authority are disabled. All right, guys. So as far as it goes for me, I covered everything I wanted to get through. I felt like we learned a lot today. I'm happy that we got to uncover some of the tokens that we did. This last example that Serge has shared to us here is a really good example of how we want to be extra cautious when something might look too good to be true. So I am good as far as my words go for today for you guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Serge, is there anything that you wanted to say in closing? All right. Well, again, thank you guys for spending your time with us. I know it's the weekend. I know you might want to be getting out and doing something, but again, I appreciate you guys being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of what you have with your weekend. And I will see you guys at the next one. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Of course.
All right, bye. Thank you.
You're very welcome. See you later.